This podcast is brought to you by our Anime Addicts community. If you want to support the podcast, to be a great fan, get some extra content just for you, go to aapodcast.com/join or Patreon. The expenses are piling up, and we need your help. So if you want to help the podcast stay afloat and run the way it always has, again, get our extra content, our hentai episodes, our hobby addicts, and our after parties if you go to aapodcast.com/join or Patreon. And now it's time to start the podcast.
Get ready! You're about to listen to the Anime Addicts Anonymous Podcast. Make your anime addiction worse at aapodcast.com. And now, here are your anime addicts.
Welcome to episode 727 of the Anime Addicts Anonymous podcast. My name is Mason, and with me are two amazing co-hosts. We have the successor of the Prince of All Saiyans, the supremely buff Pontiff, the Vicar of Jesus Christ, it's Jason Bourne, the Bishop of Dome, the Primate of Primates, the head honcho of headhunting Moe girls, the Pope, Mitsugi. How's it
Welcome,
going?
my children, to the podcast. I absolve you of your moe sins. Yes.
And we have
Happy to be
Caroline.
here. Yes, indeed.
Oh, I don't get all those titles.
Listen, Mitz did so well at his Hobby Addicts hockey predictions, which you can find by joining our
That's right.
whatever exclusive club by paying us money to get extra bonus content that is practically free for how much value you get at this point, that I had to give him a little something special. But we do love you, Caroline, nonetheless, who
Thank you.
is 1 year older than last you heard her. So
Yes,
how is
yes, I am a full year older from last week.
exactly.
That's how it works.
It's just it pounces on you.
Yeah. So of course I spent yesterday celebrating, and I celebrated too much.
With alcohol.
So yes, with alcohol.
Adult beverages.
So my energy levels are low, and I'm tired. So please bear with me this episode.
Listen, Caroline, I see where you're coming from, but I think once we get to our main topic, once this Twitch chat, which we stream live to every Sunday at 5 p.m. Eastern, gets you riled up, gets you going, your energy will be flooding in. So
I am certain of that.
Yeah, it's a slow boil. So like I said, thank you everyone who joined us on Twitch, who joined us on Discord, as well as Twitter, TikTok, Facebook, all the places. We love you. And just, you know the drill by now. We can move on. Our main topic today will be the Great Character Swap. This was a Caroline idea, so she better be excited for it, as well as our final round of Spring 2024 impressions. We have such fine exemplary shows such as Sandland, A Condition Called Love, Windbreaker, Oi Tonbo, Go-Go Loser Rainbow, Ranger, Go-Go Loser Ranger, a salad bowl of eccentrics. I just on the spreadsheet I merge the rain and then the salad bowl and Remonster. So we will see what shows make the final pass, make the cut, and soon after this we will release a poll for you, the listeners, to vote on the last 3 shows that we will review on this podcast on a future date. So stay tuned for all of that and more at AAApodcast.com. But with that, anything else before we get to our big news of the week?
What a fucking intro. Blistering.
Dude,
Blistering.
We got places to be here.
We do. Let's go. I'm ready.
大ニュースです。It's time for big news of the week.
Well, this just in. Japan hates you, tourists, but it wants your money anyway. So, I think Japan is experiencing what I experienced in Japan recently, which is there's just too many fucking foreigners in Japan. And, if I end up moving to Japan, I'll be even grumpier about it probably. But so they're doing all sorts of stuff in Japan to make tourists less of a pain in the ass. So on our show notes, there's a lot of links here you can view. But In the year and a half since Japan reopened its borders from COVID-19, 25 million travelers came to Japan in 2023, and that's 8% more than before COVID. And I swear it felt like more than that this year. So there's absolutely no way that was all. I mean, it was absolutely ridiculous. So in order to combat the problem with the foreigners in Japan is that we're just how do I put it? Like, I don't want to sound bad, but it is kind of true. We just kind of fucking suck. And
people are the worst to begin with, let alone
Yep.
travelers in a foreign country who are just so unaware of customs and just good, proper behavior.
Yep, they're just terrible. I harken back to the German people that were on a bullet train. I picked the bullet train car that had the fewest number of seats taken. I'm like, oh, good, an empty car. It'll be quiet. And then somehow I get seated with like 20 German people who just like, you would have thought it was like a nightclub in there. And then there was just trash everywhere when they left. Like, they don't give a fuck. And so Gion, and by the way, Kyoto, if I never go to Kyoto again, I'll be totally fine with that. It's just tourist central. Gion is a street in Kyoto where there are a lot of geisha and maiko sometimes. Maiko being like practicing geisha. And they are routinely harassed by tourists and who are said to be routinely wandering onto private property, even though there's signage telling them not to go on the property and not to photograph the geisha, so they do it anyway. And they're just an utter nuisance to the point where the local authorities in that region are, quote, going to put up signs in April that tell tourists to stay out of our private streets. The signs will say in both Japanese and English that there are going to be a 10,000 yen fine for any foreigner who goes onto these specific streets in Kyoto, because that's how terrible we are. I'm just like, oh my God. And it doesn't stop there. So there's a Lawson near Mount Fuji that has an amazing view of Mount Fuji. And if you guys want to, you can actually click the blue link, the blue text in the show notes. In the town of Fujikawa Guchiko, which is quite a name, has, quote, had enough of tourists. The town on Tuesday is constructing a large black screen that is on a stretch of the sidewalk that will block the view of the mountains from that area of the city. So they're literally blocking the view of Mount Fuji to get the foreigners to go the hell away, basically.
That's so wild. I hope they take it down once this influx settles down.
They cite littering, crossing the road during busy traffic, ignoring traffic lights, and wandering into and trespassing on private properties as the reason for them doing this. And if you click on the link, it is quite a nice view of Mount Fuji in front of this Lawson. I mean, it's kind of insane, except it's got a fucking ugly ass like convenience store in the view, which is, I would definitely be like going somewhere else to take that photo. If you click on the link, it's got like an exact photo of some tourists taking a picture in front of this Lawson. And I'm just like, who thinks that a photo with basically a busted 7-Eleven and a bunch of cars in the parking lot is the optimal foreground shot for a picture of Mount Fuji?
I think
it just captures all of Japan.
I think part of the problem might be they try to like maybe go to the roof of the store, maybe.
Well, I would not be surprised.
Yeah. I don't know. I kind of just thought like maybe that is what is happening.
I think they're just congesting all of the traffic and flow of the area and just being a nuisance to people who just live in the area.
Furthermore, Japan is limiting the traffic on Mount Fuji to 4,000 a day and will now charge a fee of 2,000 yen to climb Mount Fuji. Oh, by the way, the exchange rate's so funny. If you go back to that article about Gion, they're like, 10,000 yen fine. Or in today's dollars, $68. Like, oh no.
This would have been 100 4 years ago, but now
$68. Jesus Christ. I can't even go to a shitty taco shop in Denver for $68. So in recent years, more than 400,000 people have summited Fuji in the 2 months in the late summer when you're actually allowed, and that's 7,000 people a day. But because of traffic jams with humans and just trashing the mountain with litter, they are now capping it at roughly half that much to prevent I guess, tourists from just destroying Mount Fuji. It's going to become like the new Everest. So they're trying to prevent that from happening. But Japan still loves you. So there's good news. Even though they clearly hate you, you can... The country is rolling out the welcome mat for foreigners. They're basically, the Immigration Services Office is now announcing plans to begin issuing a 6-month visa to citizens from 49 countries, which includes the United States, which is an increase from the prior limit of 90 days. So they're going to double the length of the visa from 90 to 180 days, and they're going to be launching this program. They say as early as late as March. I don't know what year that is. If it's this year, they missed the boat because I was just there and I didn't get a 90-day visa. So, pretty interesting stuff. They want you to come to Japan. They want you to not be an asshole, basically.
Yeah,
So,
it's not hard to abide by stuff. Just be mindful of where you're at.
Yeah.
See how other people around you, not foreigners, are acting, and just try to fall in line.
It's really easy in Japan. Like, the key is just don't be noisy.
Don't bother.
Don't litter
Don't
and
bother.
don't be noisy. And that's about it. Like, they just don't want you to bother other people. You know, like you want to act in Japan most places as you would act like in a fucking church. Like, don't shout, don't carry on, don't throw shit, don't litter, and you'll be fine. Like, why is that so hard for us? I don't know. But it is. So, that's about it. So, I'm not the only one that noticed the problematic influx of foreigners in Japan. So the country itself is a little annoyed. So we don't want to get to the point where they are straight up just like taking more drastic measures to prevent this from happening. But I will make a note that the yen is still worse than 150 to the dollar, so you should still be going. That's all I got. Caroline.
All right. Some people might have already heard already. Because it kind of affects a lot of people. But Crunchyroll just announced that it has increased the prices for its Mega Fan and Ultimate Fan tiers in the US, Argentina, Colombia, France, Portugal, and select additional countries.
That's fucked up.
Yeah, so in the US, the company is increasing the Mega Fan price from $9.99 to $11.99 per month, and the Ultimate Fan tier from $14.99 to $15.99 per month. The fan tier, thankfully, will remain at $7.99 per month. So, I think I'm on the fan tier, but I pay yearly, so it's kind of, and this was before they changed their subscription layout. So I am still kind of confused over where that puts me, but I think my subscription is staying the same. At least I'm assuming. But yeah, the Crunchyroll free trial period has also decreased from 14 days to 7 days of free viewing. So I like Crunchyroll still, but it definitely seems like it's becoming less and less benevolent with what it's serving people, especially considering didn't they take away like the ad supported viewing a while ago?
Yeah, I think that's just falling in line with a lot of other subscription services where they slowly tick up prices and they're like, well, if you're not paying the mid to high tier price and you're just in the lowly poverty tier, low tier, you're still going to get ads now.
Yeah. Yeah, so that kind of sucks. Hopefully it doesn't get much worse.
I mean, overall, they haven't had too many price increases across their history. So it was just a matter of when.
It's a slippery slope, you know? Like once you do it, once you see how Netflix is doing it so frequently and you do it once,
I'm paying an extra $2 a month. You better get Girls Band Cry on the platform, please. Thank you very much. What did you say, Mitz?
Captain Avatar says that's what you get when you have monopolies. I wish it was a fucking monopoly. I mean, honestly, every season I pick 7 shows, and I end up having to go to Crunchyroll, Disney. This season, I would have had to have gone to Crunchyroll, Disney, Hulu, and High Dive to watch 7 fucking shows. We are pretty far from a monopoly, but what you are going to have is Crunchyroll is now going to cause High Dive to raise their prices, and probably other services as well that carry anime. So you can just expect that to happen right away. But I also would say that I have no idea why people have the mega fan tier or above. Like, honestly, does anybody really give a shit about a $15 off coupon from their store every 3 months?
Yeah, I think.
Like, who gives
I
a
mean,
shit?
well, I could see wanting to have Mega Fan because then you can put it on multiple device or is it like several devices at the same time and also offline viewing. So
I
I've
guess.
been kind of tempted to get that, but especially now that it's been raised $2, I don't think I'm going to chill out the extra money just for the because frequently I don't need the offline viewing. It's just on a couple of occasions I thought it would be nice to have, but
I,
yeah, not now.
I'll tell you who's celebrating. 9anime.com. Yeah, 9anime.tv or whatever is fucking loving this because they're like, oh, great. We just had like 60,000 more people a month come to our website because they can't afford to pay, $93 total for streaming. So now they're just going to come pirate anime out there. Listen, honestly, at a certain point, we have no one to blame but ourselves for anime piracy. If you're just going to keep jacking the prices and fragmenting anime services to the point where you have to have like subscriptions to 7 or 8 things to watch all the shows, we have no one to blame but ourselves. I don't know.
I mean, I don't think this will actually do that. I mean, if you're already paying $10 a month, let's say, for Crunchyroll, paying an extra $2, like you're on principle, you're already doing it to support the industry in whatever moralistic intentions you have with that. You're still going to keep on doing it. An extra $2 is probably not going to drive so many people who are currently at Crunchyroll to be like, oh no, it's too much and cancel it. But I get what you're saying where, like you said, it's a slippery slope. It will build upon itself where people might give up a subscription here or there. So I don't know, but it's news. I'm sure most people don't even notice. They don't monitor their finances and they just,
well, they really should.
All of a sudden they look at their credit card. They're like, well, when did Crunchyroll cost $24 a month? And you're like, it's $20.35, my dude. It's been that for 3 years. So,
well, credit card debt.
PSA, there you go.
Credit card debt in the U.S. is up to 1.2 trillion now, so that probably tracks.
Yeah, check your credits, people.
You
Monitor
really
your
should.
stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I had something I was going to say, but I forgot what it was, so it must not have been that important. It was probably just snarky bullshit anyway. So I'm trying to check. I'm trying to check and see what tier I'm on right now. So, but that is proving to be harder than you would think.
Yeah,
I did cancel
that's why
High Dive.
I've tried. Yeah.
I canceled High Dive again because they suck.
Just look at your credit card report. See if you're paying $10 or $8, and that'll tell you.
Well, and I would do that, but the thing is that I have the annual subscription,
Which probably gives you a discount.
Yeah, or at least and I don't even know if they have an annual subscription nowadays because they changed their subscription tiers and system.
Yeah.
So I think that might have been part of the old system, but then I wonder, like, I can't. It's hard for me to understand if I should change my subscription or just keep how it is.
Just do the math. Divide it by 12 at the end, and you'll figure it out.
I'm just on.
No, not math.
They should just tell me. They should have that information readily available to tell you what subscription you have.
Yeah.
I'm on. I have the $8 fan membership, so people are out of their mind if they. I remember what I was going to say. So the problem is
good.
The problem is that, and this is just me probably, maybe not, I don't know. I've seen an awful lot of people on TikTok and Instagram bitching about things lately. So the problem is in life today, and I'm going to get a lot of amens from people at home, you're getting fucked in everything. Restaurants, groceries, gas, insurance, healthcare, your rent. Christ, rent? Are you fucking kidding? It's gone up like 40% in 2 years. You're getting murdered on everything. Now Crunchyroll wants to raise their prices. I would not be surprised one bit if people are overly sensitive about shit like this and they're like, fuck it, I'm just going to go pirate now because you got to win somewhere. So when everything in life feels like it's just out to fuck you every time you buy anything, you're at the point where you don't even want to leave your house because it costs $100 to breathe the air outdoors. Literally.
I mean, I don't want to leave my house anyway.
I wouldn't be surprised if people are like, that's the last straw. And plus, you're raising your prices from like what, $9 to like $11. It's like a 20% price hike. Now I realize it's not probably a very large percentage of their list of their viewers because everybody's probably on the fan membership. But that's a lot. 20%? Like that's dramatic. Like, oh, does Crunchyroll really need to have 20% more revenue? No, they don't. There's no fucking way. It's just a website, people. Like, give me a break. Anyway, moving on. It's just annoying.
To our main topic. Caroline, would you like to
You wrote nothing
I wrote nothing.
with that juicy shit about Free Ren. You wrote nothing. You didn't
going
do
on hiatus. Manga go on hiatus all the time.
an indefinite hiatus.
Yeah, that just means they don't know how long it is. It happened last year.
Oh,
A
to
ton of
me,
manga go on.
I don't know. To me, it means that shit's not having an ending.
No, to me
people
it
are
means
pissed.
they're probably helping out with other projects or doing anime stuff. I don't know.
It's
I-
not.
Manga
Wait,
have
whoa, whoa,
come
whoa,
out
whoa.
of hiatus before Mitts.
It's not the anime that's going on hiatus. It's the manga. The mangaka said he's done.
It's not done.
Okay,
They're going on
so
hiatus.
recently, like the mangaka of One Piece took a hiatus. You don't think One Piece is coming back?
Indefinite hiatus sounds like it's forever. Indefinite just means undefined. Yes, you would feel more warm and fuzzy if the writer was just like, "Hey, I'm taking a 4-month break. I'll be back in 4 months." Yeah, it's nice to have a schedule, but sure.
It doesn't make you nervous that there's no
Indefinite
return.
hiatus, no.
There's no return date.
No, there was literally
All right.
an indefinite hiatus last year for Freyrin.
Jeez.
Imagine
happens.
like us coming
Manga
back to
people
this
should
maybe 1
take
year
more
from
breaks.
now, and we return to this topic, and he's like, "Oh, I don't know, actually."
Let's
I
be
was
like
dumb."
Freyrin. It's a blink in the eye. It'll happen before we know it. Time, it's so ethereal, it's so fleeting. Come back in no time. You guys had 2 big juicy segments. I was like, we don't have time. We got character
All the
swaps to do.
juice.
Yeah.
All right, and let's get into it.
All right.
So I thought of what if we took a bunch of shows and at random paired them together and do kind of like a wife swap, but a character swap, where the main character from those shows get put into the other's series, and we just talk about what that character would do and how the plot might be affected by that change. So we each put together a list of 5 shows, and we are just going to see what pairings we got and discuss.
Yeah, you guys.
Do you guys have any strategy to picking your shows?
I mean, I was kind of thinking along the lines of shows that have a strong story and a strong main character, in that it's very definable what they would do in certain situations, and with a plot that might challenge any other character.
Yeah, that's pretty good. You don't want to pick just some slice of life show, and it's like, oh, what if, Goku had to, mow the lawn every day. It's like, that's not an interesting setting for him to like do his thing in. You want it to be an off the wall setting as much as the character. So I figured we'll just random number generator Mitz and Caroline, me and Mitz, and just like go through it.
Yeah. Sounds
All
good.
right, so we each have 5 shows listed. Do we want to say what these shows are? I don't think so. I think we're
No,
just
let's
gonna
keep it a
RNG
secret.
So, from Mitsugi's list, the characters from Attack on Titan will be swapped with Caroline's Sword Art Online.
Okay.
That could go pretty
You know,
well.
that's a pretty easy swap, all things considered.
All
both
right,
are pretty fighting heavy.
Were we just doing the main character or multiple characters?
I would say like a grouping of whatever you define main in your head. So it's probably like Eren, Mikasa, Armin, whoever else, Levi, whoever you want to group in is swapped with the Sword Art Online folks of Asuna, Kirito, and the like.
And just Asuna and Kirito, because nobody else in that show matters. So let's look at this from the perspective of Attack on Titan characters in Sword Art Online first. So I feel like Eren probably would be a very much a Kirito type. So I think there wouldn't be all that much of a difference in what he would do, because I feel like he would easily enter that stereotype of like, gotta grind. I can't be around other people because
I'm a loner. I'm a dark wolf. So here's the question.
And then he's gonna just yell at the sky constantly, like, I will beat you!
Here's the question. Are they in Sword Art Online's digital world? Or are they in Sword Art Online's real world? And they have to put on the headgear.
The circumstances of Sword Art Online would be playing in... okay, I misunderstood what you were asking.
I think the fun example is they have their 3D maneuvering gear, but they're in the digital fighting arena of Sword Art Online.
Okay.
And they do good. I think both parties do a pretty good job. I think there's actually very much like you switch them, and the stories could be pretty
Yeah,
similar.
I don't think
Yeah.
they change at all. You're still gonna have Look, I haven't watched much Sword Art Online. I probably should, but you're still gonna have Asuna pining over Kirito, so that's not gonna be that different than like Mikasa and Eren, like at least at the beginning.
But I don't think they would be able to beat the Titans. If we're
Oh, they would.
if we're saying that they will keep their typical tools of fighting, because we said that Attack on Titan would for Sword Art Online, then that would mean that Kirito and Asuna would be carrying swords.
Yeah,
In the
he
world of
already has
Attack on
practice
Titan.
with the two swords. That's what the
But aren't they like?
Titan people
But
use.
isn't this like shonen? Isn't he like shooting like energy blasts out of his swords and crap?
That was like in the second or third season or something like that. But if
Like-
we're talking about season 1 stuff, let's keep it to the season 1 where they're just like in their, regular sword fighting kind of style.
Would anybody mind watching Asuna and Kirito get eaten? I mean, the fanboys would tear at their hair and beat at their chests over Asuna, but does anybody really care about Kirito?
No.
I didn't think so.
But I still don't think that they would be able to survive the Attack on Titan world, especially since they can't get up to the napes of most Titans. They have to.
Well, they would still have the 3D maneuver gear.
but
The technology would still exist.
Yeah, but if we're saying that the people of Attack on Titan will be keeping their tools in Sword Art Online, I figured it would probably stay the same with Sword Art Online keeping their tools.
Yeah, they'd keep their digital tools, but I don't know. I think there would be actually no change overall. At least comparing season ones of both.
I feel like out of all of the things that we have on our list here, this is going to be the least amount
drastic.
of difference.
Yep,
Yeah.
I agree.
Look, I haven't seen Sword Art Online, but I just think that if you put like Kirito and Eren in like a battle arena, Kirito's gonna fucking wipe the floor with his ass. There's no fucking way.
I think Kirito would win against Eren.
I think Attack on Titan is a somewhat non-superpowered show where they're basically like at least as they are with swords. I'm not talking about Eren and like his Titan gear, even though that might not even matter. But like, I mean, they had to literally invent a cable like flying device to even be combat ready. And Eren and Kirito and Asuna are like in a fantasy world with superpowers. So they're like, it's like having somebody from, it's like having Will Smith from Bad Boys take on like Iron Man in Marvel. Like I feel like it's just not. Those genres don't match, and I don't see how Asuna doesn't just erase Mikasa in a matter of like 1 second. I mean,
Yeah,
I'm gonna look it up.
depends how you're defining their powers coming over. I think we can move on though. That
Okay, all right.
personality-wise and how they respond to adversity is
it'd be the
pretty
same.
similar. Yeah.
Yeah,
Except I think the Titans would get their asses mopped up. But
I highly doubt it.
Next we have Caroline's list. One Punch Man characters go into the world of Dr. Stone.
oh man,
How does that work out? You take all that intellect
All those
and
superpowered
mindfulness
people
of
are-
Senku and replace that with the okayness of One Punch Man.
the okayness.
Okay.
Okay. So we're talking like probably Genos and of course Saitama and I don't know. I
Whoever
feel like
you want. You could bring King in there.
yeah, maybe, but I feel like those two would probably be able to do the most in the world of Doctor Stone. I think Genos would be actually the one to try to get there to be any sort of development in their living situation, considering they're in a primitive world now.
Yeah, I think Saitama would be
Meanwhile,
very
Saitama
okay with
would
it.
probably just, sit in a tree and do nothing and maybe punch some things.
Who's the boy who just beat up a lion, Dr. Stone?
Tsukasa?
Yeah, that would be One Punch Man. Like he would just
Yes.
live his life as primitive. He would be fine. Might makes right, but he wouldn't attack anyone. He would just live in his element and just be fine. And Genos would be like, no, let's build a hut. Let's do something. I'm rusting out here. And Saitama would be like, I'm good.
Genos. That's
Yeah.
funny.
I'm fine. And I think Senku and the lads would be great in One Punch Man. They would just engineer more higher grade heroes. They would be the people who worked on the like the Meta Knight looking fella.
Yeah, that would be interesting to see them try to be superheroes, because I guess it does kind of work with the One Punch Man setting where, you know, there are some superpowered people, but a grand majority of the quote unquote superheroes are normal people, like just with a gimmick of some sort. Like we got the one with the bat and the one with the bicycle.
I'm
and
just
things
thinking
like
there's a lot of like scientific and genetic mutation of just people like becoming heroes that way. So I'm sure Senku would just join that research department of like,
Yeah.
how can we mess up the chemical imbalance of the entire nation? So yeah, that would work. I'd watch that.
Yeah, that'd be pretty fun. But yeah, I don't see Genos and Saitama doing much in the world of Dr. Stone. I think they'd just be sitting around and trying to just barely get by.
Okay, next up we have the girls from Keep Your Hands Off Azokin
Oh no.
replacing the characters in Gurazeni. So
Oh my
the
God.
Gurazeni baseball team has to make an anime, and the Azokin girls have to play baseball.
So, okay, boy, Azokin. I gotta like look these girls up.
So it's the you have like the little one who's the director, you have the medium
Yeah.
height one who's like the wealthy producer, and you have the tall one who wants to make all the money. So that actually
Perfect.
a lot of carryover when you think about it, because you know
So,
Gurazeni is very financially based, and I think it's Midori.
yeah,
I don't
Midori.
remember.
So Midori is the more outgoing one, I think, and she's probably either going to be an announcer or the team manager, I think. Now, I guess they do put emphasis on both of those because that anime is pretty thorough about like giving some attention to everybody in baseball, regardless of what role they're in. But so that makes sense to me because she's kind of the more outgoing, like spunky one. So she's gonna be the one that wants to be on the radio, you know, being all boisterous.
She strikes me as like the head coach. She wants to be the director. She wants to.
You
be
want her
in
to be
charge.
the coach?
I want her to be the coach. She's like chewing like sesame seeds, sunflower seeds, spitting them out. You have Kanamori, who's like the GM. Like she's the one who's like doing all the financial.
Oh, it's either that
like,
or I was gonna say she could be like an agent, someone's agent.
Ooh, yeah, it was just someone involved with the business side who's
Yeah.
out there for the money. So that would work super well with Gurazeni.
And what's the other
And
girl? What's Tsubame doing?
Tsubame, she would just be like the athlete. She would be the player
You
side
think?
of things. Yeah.
Is she batting
She's the
like
talent.
Is she batting like cleanup? Is she like pretty low in the rotation? Like, what do you think?
Yeah, I'd say she's one of the superstars. So either like the big slugger or
Wow.
like the ace pitcher.
Well, she's built.
you know-
She's built like a fucking toothpick, so I don't think she's gonna hit the ball very far.
Trying her best out here. And
Now,
the
how would
Gurazeni
the
folks.
team of Gurazeni do as a high school girls club making animation?
Very badly. Very badly. Yeah.
A lot of squabbling.
Yeah, and a lot of not getting anything done because Bonda is well, I don't know. He doesn't strike me as the type to be making animation at a club in a school. So
Wanda would be the in-betweener for animation. Like he does the animation work, but he does like the lowest form, the not flashy one, just the grunt work. He puts in his hours, then goes drinking to remiss about the lovely waitress he never got to be with.
Maybe they make an anime about baseball in that show, and he goes down on the field and does the pitching, and they like rotoscope him, and that's his contribution. What do you think?
Maybe.
Because I mean, let's face it, he's basically a pro baseball player, so he's definitely going to be spending most of his time after school playing baseball, probably for 3 to 4 hours, I would guess. So, yeah, I mean, Bonda
I like
was
Zero
kinda,
Ryoko in the chat saying Kanamori is probably making bets on the side with some against her own team.
she's
very right.
Should have put her in one outs.
Yeah, oh, that's a good show.
Yeah, that show's
Next
pretty
up,
fun.
we have the characters from High School of the Dead.
Come on, make it good.
Oh, it was Sword Art Online again. It was One Punch Man again. To Vinland Saga.
Oh my god.
I was hoping it would go to Akiba Maid War because that would be just a one-to-one translation for the most part. But okay, High School of the Dead and Vinland Saga.
Okay, so I have not seen High School of the Dead. I'm just going to be making assumptions.
It's a zombie anime with lots of tits.
Oh, yes, I know that, but I'm just saying
Yeah.
So
assumptions on
essentially,
some of the more
it
specific things
becomes a
about it.
historical story with lots of tits and a zombie story with just super beefy men pulverizing the crap out of them. So, I don't know. I think both
Actually,
shows get better.
I, I, I actually don't. Man, I don't know. I mean, I'm not really sure. I guess the guys from Vinland Saga would probably be just fine in the zombie apocalypse. I mean, they're so adept with weapons that they're not going to have much
Thorkel
problem.
would be living his best life.
Thorkel
Yeah,
is just
he
going to
would be.
he's going to like, man, what weapon would he use in modern era? Would he like?
I mean,
Anything. He could use a tree. It could really be anything. But if
Yeah.
we're talking specifically about actual weapons, probably a bazooka.
honestly, as long as there's any combat, the Vinland Saga boys would be good in any show.
He's just going to rip a
Mm.
mailbox out of the ground and like swing the mailbox. I don't know. It's just
His
special delivery,
like the
bitch.
potential with this crossover is incredible.
Yeah, what if the zombies were Vikings? I like that suggestion. What if the zombies were Vikings? Then you might have some problems. Because now they can't die and they're like skilled warriors. So that's a definite issue.
Yeah, but there's no characters left in High School of the Dead to fight them off. It's just zombies and zombie Vikings.
I definitely think the High School of the Dead guys are going to do real poorly in Vinland Saga. Like I don't think they're going to make it, honestly.
Would they have their guns or
I mean, I don't know that it would matter. They'd run out of ammo really fast.
yeah, it's
They'd
true.
be like,
I just don't think they would be engaged in combat. Like, I think the Vinland Saga people fight because they're, questing or searching for gold or new land or whatever. The High School of the Dead people are just fighting to stay alive. I think you take them, drop them in Iceland, they're like, good, the fighting's over. We can just lay low. They're not going to actively search out the fights anymore. So, I don't know. I think the Vinland Saga people would be better in High School of the Dead. And the High School of the Dead show would be just kind of a laid back, let's explore Iceland tour. So, I
It
think
would
Fair
be
enough.
pretty fun.
I like
Okay.
I like High School of the Dead. They should make more of that. I don't know why they haven't.
There you go. We have the characters from Akiba Maid War going to the show of Haikyuu. So, how would the boys of Haikyuu do at running a maid cafe? And
That
how
would
would the
be
maid
freaking
cafe
funny.
girls
Fucking just
do it
fine.
doing volleyball? I think that'd be
Okay.
awesome both ways.
I think they would do
Yeah,
fine.
okay, so like thinking of the boys of Haikyuu having to work at a maid cafe and then also have to deal with other maid cafe gangs. That is a show I would definitely watch.
Yeah, the characters of Akiba Maid War, you could definitely assign them to each volleyball position, and we've already seen them do like boxing and just other armed warfare, so they're definitely athletic enough to have a good volleyball match. And similarly, the boys of Haikyuu each have their own personality, and you could be like, oh, Hinata would be a server, and this guy would be the manager. Like, I like it. I like the show a
Yeah.
lot. Make it
Me
happen.
I wouldn't be so interested to see the Akiba Maid War girls doing volleyball, but I would pay money to watch the boys of Haikyuu run a maid cafe.
I think they would do great at it. Honestly, I mean there'd be so many girls in there trying to, get some service from. I can't remember all the names in Haikyuu.
Service ace, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, exactly. Duh. Of course.
I so often think that crossover events in anime are pretty lackluster and just seems
Cash
like
grab.
whatever. But this, I would sign me up. Take my money.
Take your money right now.
Take my money. Okay, next up we have the trio from Spy Family going into the world of Peter Grill.
Oh my god.
And how would the sex craved
Oh,
king
man.
of the land do in modern Europe or wherever it's located?
This is the most bizarre pairing so far.
These don't belong. The Venn diagram of these shows are two distinct circles.
Completely, yeah. Boy, man, those ogre girls. They're something else. They live rent free in my mind forever.
That's not what this topic is about, Mitz.
Wow. Actually,
Inside of you are two ogre girls. One is one of them. The other one is the other one of them. And they're exactly the same, baby.
I'm going to stifle an inappropriate comment for Caroline. Make a
Thanks.
note of that. I don't know, man. I think that...
I can't see it.
I mean, so the dad, whatever the hell his name is from Spy Family, blonde guy.
Lloyd.
Is going to go to... He's going to swap with Peter Grill. And first of all, some things are going to happen.
Fine.
Some things are going to happen, okay? Lloyd is going... Sorry, Caroline, but Peter Grill is a hentai. So
I know this.
Lloyd is going to... He's going to be a few ounces lighter very quickly. And by that, I mean, yes. The cream-filled donut will divulge its cream, and little baby Lloyd ogres will fill the land.
But he's not sexual like that.
That's because...
Neither is Peter Grill. The whole gimmick of Peter Grill is he doesn't want all the sex. He literally is in love with someone and just wants to be with her and live a normal, consensual, honest, I'm trying to think of the word, but I'm blanking, life. And he just is beguiled, assaulted by all these other ethereal creatures who just want his powerful seed. So Lloyd would be similarly, trying to be a good boy and just ravished episode after episode by the likes of the creatures we have not yet witnessed. But I do think, he fits in all right. And I think... I don't know how Anya would fit in. I don't like that idea, but
the reason why Lloyd isn't sexual is because Yor is just not getting it done. Okay, let's be honest. And frankly, the ogre girls, they're gonna get it done. Okay, there's no way he's gonna be able to resist. They are constantly in heat, and Lloyd is gonna fuck their brains out. That's just how it's gonna go. It's gonna be a mess. It's gonna be a lot of towels required, and at the end of it all, Lloyd is never going back to the world of Spy Family. Now, Peter Grill, he's going to go to the world of Spy Family, and that's going to work out perfect because Yor doesn't want any action anyway, and Peter Grill, he doesn't want the action either because he has someone that he loves, and so that's going to work out perfectly. But
I think if you just switch the male leads, it's okay.
But Anya is going to have a very poor parental influences growing up of parents that don't love each other, and then she's going to be all sorts of fucked up. Either that,
I wouldn't say it's much different to what she has now, which is Lloyd and Yor, who are just in a relationship for, convenience sake. And Anya also has that telepathy, so she knows what's going on with both of these. So I can only imagine she's using telepathy, and she will suddenly know all about Peter's past as that. Unless this is a complete drag and drop where they don't have any memory of their previous experiences, then that doesn't really work. But
I don't think that I would. I don't think I'd even watch Peter Grill in Spy Family, but I would watch Lloyd in Peter Grill because the ogre girls. It doesn't matter, and
it's essentially the same show at that point.
And Yor cannot compete with the ogre girls. She has neither the sexual attraction level or the desire, so she's totally outclassed. So. I think Lloyd would be just fine. He will find himself in the sweet pink bosom of the ogre girls.
And
you really got to choose a hentai for this.
I actually chose 2 ecchis and 1 hentai just for you.
Thanks.
That's what it's all about. And finally, we have Golden Boy swapped with ReZero. How would our boy fare in the ruthless world that Subaru is assailed with?
Yeah, so I'm not familiar with Golden Boy myths, so you can take the lead on this one.
Are we blending all 3 of them? Or just
no, we'll do Golden Boy and ReZero. And essentially, in my mind, it's just Subaru swapping with Kentaro.
Well, man. So first of all, Kentaro is way the fuck smarter than Subaru. Like, there's absolutely no doubt. Subaru is like this bumbling little twerp that only manages to survive because he's able to die and come back 4 million times. And he didn't go to Tokyo University Law. He didn't learn how to program a computer in like one night. He didn't, do all the things that Kentaro does. So they're both just fairly normal dudes, but Kentaro literally outraces a motorcycle on a bicycle and is smart enough to do all that stuff, he's just going to be more well equipped than Subaru for whatever Subaru has to deal with. Also,
See, I don't know
Yep.
if I agree. I think they're both pretty bumbling and stupid. The difference is Kentaro, it just has an overwhelming amount of charisma and tries really hard. Similar to how Subaru just gets his butt beaten into the ground until he tries really hard. So they both kind of have a similar arc of fails at something. The difference is Kentaro just kind of gets shamed for it until he becomes a superstar, and Subaru just kind of gets killed for it until he becomes a superstar.
see, I think Kentaro acts bumbling, but I don't think he really is. That's the whole thing. Like he's, I mean, I could not learn how to program a computer in one night. I know it's anime, but I practiced programming on a computer made out of paper. You know, like the whole thing.
Yeah.
Like I would not be able to do that. I'm not saying I'm a genius or anything. I don't think I'm stupid. But
But he was bumbling at first. He had to fail until he succeeded. So similar to Subaru in that regard. It just won't take him as many deaths, and he'll do it while being very funny instead of being sad all the time like Subaru.
I do think ReZero would be funnier with Kentaro in it.
Oh, absolutely. And both shows, they're surrounded by a bevy of women who end up falling for them over time. So I think it kind of works. I don't think it's too different. It just becomes a much more enjoyable and funny show.
Subaru
Now,
could,
who would be like? Would you think that the other, like that character, would be happier in this other world, or would they be happier in their original world?
oh my god, everybody is happier in the world of Golden Boy.
But that's reality, and that's sad.
Well, I mean, it's like, so I can either go to the world of ReZero, get no action, and be eaten by rabbits, or I can go to Golden Boy and have girls fall in love with me left and right and not be tortured. I think it kind of speaks for itself, but I don't know. I could be wrong, but I would not want to be in the world of ReZero because I don't want to die every episode.
Well, yeah, it's a much more
It's
depressing
fucking
world.
horrible. It's fucking
for
horrible.
sure.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't know what the world of Golden Boy was like. If you know.
It's real. It's reality. It's
reality.
90s Japan.
Yeah, and by the way, Amelia needs to give Subaru some action. He loves her so much. I think they might have kissed, but like, good God, like, he died for you 40 fucking times. Like, what is
doesn't
wrong
know
with
that.
you?
That's why he's sad. He's a sad boy.
Well, Subaru, he reminds me a lot of the guy from that new Netflix show, Baby Reindeer. He just lets himself get walked on, and he just gets nothing out of it. I don't know. It's weird. That's a fucked up TV show, by the way.
Caroline, pick a random show. Any show.
Golden.
Okay, I have my anime list up, so let me just.
Scroll down, and the first thing it lands on.
Yeah, sure. Cyberpunk Edge Runners.
Cyberpunk Edge Runners mixed with the characters from Golden Kamuy, which I like. I liked Golden Kamuy just because it's the most insane, like, setting of just real world Japan in Hokkaido up north. But they're searching for this crazy map that's tattooed on the back of like the skins of 36 different prisoners, and they have to go on this whole. It's so goofy and
it's
wild.
so metal is what it is. Like, good lord.
It's so brutal. And there's no technology for these cyberpunk people. You know, the cyberpunk people need to touch some real grass. I think we can all agree on. They've been too digitized. They're caught up in the modern capitalist systems. They've just been hardwired into the Ethernet, and they could just use some nice, relaxing stroll through the woods, eating poop and fighting bears. That'll be good for them.
I mean, who doesn't want to
Some
eat poop?
character.
I mean, I've been cleaning up poop and called to the lamb for 4 weeks.
Yeah, it's great. It's a lifestyle.
Yeah, I mean, cleaning up poop and vomit all day. That's you. I mean, literally, we're working towards 100
And you're
piles
also
of
dealing
poop.
with Mako peeing in your dryer.
He did pee in the
Which,
dryer.
by the way, have you decided to close your dryer door now?
In fairness, he peed in the dryer because I did not do his litter box for like an entire week. So that was my punishment. That he let me know.
He has to.
That's okay. We
Yes,
learn.
Even he has his limits. Yes, indeed. Little son of a bitch.
And I think the Golden Kamui people would just have a blast in Cyberpunk. They would just be zipping all over the place, hijacking cars, driving around willy-nilly. just trying all the different food and just having their minds exploded by the digital age. Yeah, so I think that'd be good. I'd watch it. I'd watch that for sure. Now, of all those pairings, which one was your favorite?
It's hard to remember the pairings.
I think, obviously, Attack on Titan, Sword Art Online doesn't change too much. Vinland Saga, High School of the Dead changes a bit, but not as much as you would think.
Oh, Haikyuu and Akira Maid War, that one's my favorite.
Yeah, I think that one. I think it's having that big cast of very distinct characters swapping with another big cast really gives you the most room to play around in.
I also don't know much about Guruzeni and Eizouken, but I think that swapping is pretty fun too.
That would work, yeah, for sure.
All you need to know about Guruzeni is that nobody but me likes it. And so...
I already know this.
Although, Mason, you don't like Guruzeni either?
I don't hate Guruzeni.
It's so on the mark for what it's trying to do.
Wish it was more...
anime?
Not so simplistic about what it was going for. I wanted to really get into it. And,
I think Bonda needs to tell that girl at the ramen shop or at the izakaya that he loves her. Because that was...
my favorite part about Guruzeni is that I think, from what I recall, this really cute girl pops up at the end of every episode. She's like in the ending song of season 1, Caroline. She never appears in the show. She's not in the show at all in season 1.
What?
She just appears in season 2. Like she's just this character that shows up in the ending. You have no idea who she is.
I'm pulling
until
this shit up.
The end, right? Like she doesn't get any screen time or lines, but she's all about the ending. I don't remember. It's been so long since I've seen the show.
Here's another question if we have time. What pairing of shows that did not get paired together here would you be interested in seeing?
Oh, Jesus.
I'm kind of curious about Eizouken and Akiba Maid War. To see how that would go.
I got nothing for you. That's too difficult to pull out of thin air.
You think?
Yeah. I'm too stupid for that. I can't handle that. Sorry. That's the way it goes.
That's too hard.
It's got to be the girl
sorry.
The girl you're talking about's got to be the one that boned. She's sitting on a hill or something. That's the one that, like, I'm trying to remember.
She shows up at the very last episode of season 1, despite being in every ending, and you're like, who is this girl?
Well, yeah, I mean,
and then she does show up in season 2, and she does become a character, but it was just like, who is this person?
Guruzeni
is fine. It's fine.
Guruzeni is the #1 anime where my score and the public score have the widest gap, probably of anything I've watched. Because that show, to me, I like it I love that fucking anime. But it's got like a 5.3 on my
You go to Guruzeni on Mel, you click on like Banda, there's going to be like 10 people who like them. Like 10 people have them on a favorites list. Like no one cares.
I'm going to look that up, and I bet it's probably just one, and it's me. I'm going to look at this shit.
If there are 100
it's got a
Banda
6.
fans, I'm one of them. If there's one Banda fan, it's me. If there are no Banda fans, I am dead.
What is wrong with this?
No one even hates on Guruzeni. Just no one knows it exists unless they listen to this podcast. It's one of those.
I gave Guruzeni a 9 on here, and only 4% gave it a 9.
How many people have Banda on their favorites list?
Probably like 6.
It can't be more than 10.
Over or under 1,000?
1,000?
Yeah.
Have Guruzeni or Banda?
Banda. It's really Bonda.
I mean, I think it's less than 10, so I'm going to say under.
It is less than 10. It's 8. No one. Poor Guruzeni. Come on.
Show Banda some love. Bonda. Oid Bondo.
Oh, God. Natsunosuke Bonda. Come on. All right.
Anything else before we go into the news break?
I just forced
Pancake
to
ready
watch
to go.
it. I'm going to force Pancake to watch that.
Do it.
Here's the In-Show Weekly trivia question. What is the only golf club that Tonbo has to play golf with on her tiny island in the anime Oi Tonbo?
Oi Tonbo!
We will get into the news break and give you the answer after that.
Pika! Anime Addicts, it's Mitsuki, and I'm bringing you your anime crack. So open up those veins. It's time for the anime news. Getting us started off, One Piece is getting its first official U.S. cafe, and it's going to be in Las Vegas, of all places. Of course, Japan has lots of cafes of pretty much all types, but the U.S., well, we don't have quite so many. If you want to be able to check out this One Piece cafe, it looks like it's going to be opening in May in, of course, Las Vegas, Nevada. So you'll be able to check it out here. It's going to be open pretty soon. And I will say that looking at some of the food items, definitely looks to surpass what I'm used to getting in Japan at these types of themed cafes. So head over to the One Piece Cafe to get giant burgers and all sorts of other stuff. It looks pretty good, actually. So that looks pretty cool. Next up in the news, the Ikoku Nikki, or the Journal with Witch, is getting a TV anime by director Miyuki Oshiro of Durarara X2 by Studio Shuka. The synopsis of this show is about a 35-year-old novelist named Makio who has a real bad relationship with a lot of his family members, but when two of them die in a car crash, they leave behind a 15-year-old girl named Asa. Well, it looks like Makio will have to take in Asa in order to support her, being that she is also family. And they suggest that Asa, in order to cope with the feelings of the death of her family members, start writing a diary. And I guess all sorts of magic will unfold. So we'll have to see. The art looks pretty good, so we'll have to see how this anime, Ikoku Nikki, or Journal with Witch, is when it comes out this year, I'm sure. Next up, as Mitsuki has been getting back into Magic the Gathering, it looks like, well, anime is as well. They are going to be having some Magic the Gathering themed crossover cards with the anime Cowboy Bebop, of all things. So you're going to be able to pick up some cards, summoning monsters and spells, and having fun with your friends while sporting the Cowboy Bebop crew, I guess. So they don't have a full list of all the cards that are available here, but I do see one card, and I'm sure there will be plenty more available. So look out wherever you pick up your cards. Maybe you'll be able to grab some of these Cowboy Bebop Magic the Gathering cards. And lastly, the anime Kakuryou no Yoromeshi is getting a second season in the fall of 2025. They dangle that shit for you literally 5 quarters in advance. That is just savagery right there. So it looks like the first season was done with Studio Gonzo back in 2018. And now, a whopping 7 years later, you're going to get the second season of the story about a person named Aoi who was abandoned by her mother and has always had the ability to see spirits from the hidden realm. So if you are a fan of this anime, then, well, look out. Bed and Breakfast for Spirits is getting a season 2 at long last. This was Mitsuki, and this was your anime news break. And now, time to get back to the podcast. Hey, Anime Addicts. Well, I bring this message to you every week, but the podcast does need your support. We do our best to keep this show running every week to get you entertained throughout your busy work week. But hey, things are expensive and we need support. So if you want to help out the podcast, do a good thing, get all of our bonus content, you can go to aapodcast.com/join or patreon.com. It does help us out a lot. We do have quite a lot of expenses to keep this thing running, mostly IT-related expenses. But we do appreciate everything you can do for us. If you can't afford to offer any money to the podcast, you could at least tell a friend about the show. But if you do support the show, you're going to be getting our hentai episodes, our hobby addicts, and our after parties, where we do keep you updated on what's going on in hentai. We do get a little raunchy sometimes, and we do talk about what our hobbies are in our personal lives, which usually results in a lot of movie and video game talk. So if you're interested in all that, aapodcast.com/join or Patreon will get it to you. Help out the podcast, and we'll continue carrying you as well.
Hi, my name is Caitlin Glass, voice of Winry from Full Metal Alchemist, and Haruhi from Oran High School Host Club, and I am an anime addict.
You know me? Of course!
Welcome back to the podcast, and we left you with a trivia question. What is the only golf club that Tonbo has to play golf with on her tiny island in the anime? Oh, Tonbo! It's a 3-iron. Not to be confused with Kevin Costner's 7-iron and Tin Cup. Another great movie. All right. Well, as we do, we haven't done it in a while, but Mason's going to get to hear his favorite drop because it's time for Unexplored Pictures with Mason.
Get your popcorn ready. It's time for Unexplored Pictures with Mason.
Man, that banger song that you play coming out of the news break always gets me going.
You fucking love it.
I love it. I jam so hard to it. But yeah, this is the segment where I briefly talk about some movies that I've been watching. In this episode, The Tunnel to Summer, The Exit of Goodbyes. This is based on a light novel that came out in 2019, which got a manga adaptation from 2020 to 2021, and now sequentially in 2022, we got an anime movie. So, if you don't like any spoilers or like going into movies blind, know that I give this movie a light recommendation if you are a fan of Makoto Shinkai. If you want like a visage of his ilk, this will definitely scratch that itch until his next work releases. Essentially, as with most Shinkai movies, this is a romance movie with a simple but powerful sci-fi element to it. And it essentially is the story of these two characters who stumble upon a mysterious tunnel. And this tunnel is allegedly able to restore things that have been lost, from broken electronics to deceased pets to more valuable things. But the cost of being within the tunnel means that time passes quicker outside when you're venturing inside. So you don't lose life, but if you go inside to claim something for 10 minutes, you might come back and it's 2 weeks later. So it's the weighing of the scales of time and the people around you versus the value of the item inside. And all things considered, there is a good movie somewhere within the movie that I watched. But the fact that it is so close to unlocking it is kind of frustratingly disappointing. So when I started this movie, I was excited to see it less than 90 minutes long in runtime. So many anime movies, and just in shows in general, tend to overstay their welcome. But man, this movie could have used just like 15 more minutes to flesh it out and make it a bit better. Because I love the foundations of the show, which pretty much exclusively follows these two intelligent and likable lead characters as they discover the tunnel and then very realistically try to work on the mechanics of it. They like time themselves how long they're in there, what result that has in the real world, and really try to be like, okay, we can send text from the outside to someone inside the tunnel, but not inside to outside. So they really go through that mechanical process, which I really like. I like kind of that hard sci-fi in a sense. And these two characters kind of go through their reasons for risking their adventures. They go through, what it is they're searching for in the tunnel. And it just is really grounded in that sense. But the problem is this whole movie, it's not about what you find in the tunnel. It's about the romance along the way. And the romance between these two characters just doesn't mesh. It's not believable. Their desires are mismatched. It'd be the equivalent of you going on this journey with someone else, and your big lofty goal is to save the burning orphanage, and their goal is to eat a peanut butter sandwich. Like, the goals that they're searching for in the tunnel just don't quite align. As well as the fact that the stakes are a little bit underdeveloped, the tension is thin, and it's kind of predictable as soon as things becomes dire. Yeah,
they're
it
undercooked,
just
man.
needs more time in the oven. And, sonically, things are not mixed very well. These big emotional piano ballads are just drawn out by these breathy characters running all over the place. It's a lot of that in your ears for 90 minutes. So overall, this is done by Studio Clap, who did the electric. I know their like logo, like that begins the movie, is just like, it's like a build-up of clapping. It's pretty
a fucking
funny.
hilarious name.
It's awesome. But it's not Studio The Clap, at least. But they did Compo the Cinephile, which I reviewed back on episode 612. And that, just like that movie, this movie looks pretty good. It's not going to blow you away like a Shinkai film, but it gets the job done. But right now, it's not streaming anywhere for free. It's like $4 on a bunch of places. So I give it, it's not awful. If it was free, maybe more definitely. But for now, it made me consider, it made me reflect. So it might provide the same to you. So I give it a light recommendation for The Tunnel to Summer, The Exit of Goodbyes. And like I said, if you like Shinkai films, if that just setup is what you go for, give it a shot. You might have a better time than me. And that is it.
It's really funny how this movie's cover is so obviously ripped off from Shinkai. I mean,
there's so many cues. Some of the soundtrack beats feel like they just listened to Radwimps and said, yeah, we can do that. So it has enough of its own ideas, but you've seen these sci-fi romances before. You've seen this one, so.
I'm not sure Shinkai's ever had a girl as good looking as this Anzu chick in this movie, though.
She's a cutie and she's good. Like, I like the characters. They're just, them together doesn't work well. And it's not great because it's such a short movie. They don't have really an established, thorough supporting cast. It's pretty much just these two characters the whole time. So the fact that they don't work well together is like a big misstep. So anyway, all things considered.
I think 82 minutes is the perfect length for a movie. I wish every movie was 82 minutes.
Oh, it was awesome.
I
just for once needed a little bit more time.
I'm getting old. Like when movies are 2 hours or longer, I'm like, oh my God, like I can't fucking sit here for 2 hours. Like,
yeah, for sure.
That's a 2-night effort for me. I have to I'm going to fall asleep and then I have to pick the movie up. It took us 3 nights to watch Rosemary's Baby recently. That's a fucked up movie, but yeah.
Let's go to mailbags.
Let's do it. Mailbags.
It's time for an almighty
mailbag.
Anime.
Mailbag.
Hey, if you would like to submit a mailbag, you can do so at AAApodcast.com and click on the mailbag button. Here we have one from Captain 3 Chord, who says, what do you think the impact to anime will be with all the advancements in AI-generated content? For example, or for reference, Content Digital made an AI-generated animated short. Personally, I think a lot of people would agree with me. I hope there will be protections against AI-generated entertainment and not just anime. Of course, due to the fact that it would definitely put a lot of people in the industry at risk, because who wouldn't want to just do, have technology do the work of 3 people for free, Like, I'm talking about, writers and animators, etc. Also, on top of that, it's just going to cheapen a lot of products, and then you wonder, what you will probably not enjoy entertainment as much in that way.
Mason?
Yeah, I mean, I will echo what Mitz is about to say. It's inevitable. AI is here in its primordial form, and it will only continue to grow and develop and become more competent, with quotes around it, and it will be used in art in some way. For better or worse, it's here. So I'm just hoping at this point, it remains a tool of execution, using it to do in-between frames or do mock-up concepts more than write me an isekai, draft me an image. If it's not as much at the helm of creating anime, I think it makes that pill a little bit easier to swallow, but nonetheless, I'm not a huge fan of it. Regardless, I think or AI itself, I should say, has a bunch of legal proceedings ahead of it, as the history of where AI is getting its images and reference material from is very murky at best. So I'm curious to see how it develops. I'm definitely not pro AI. I'm not as against it as some folks, but I really think keeping it as a tool more than a driving force is key to making it something that I can stomach a little bit easier. But what do you think, Mitz?
I think AI is going to fuck the world up big time. I think you're going to, well, in the context of the question, I think it's definitely going to be implemented. These companies like Mappa, these studios, they are all trying to make money. And when you can reduce costs by implementing AI, they will do it. Everybody will do it. Every company on Earth will do it if they have an application for it. But I won't be watching it if it goes. I don't know. I mean, honestly, if I'm kind of curmudgeonly in this way, but if anime has AI being used to make it in literally any capacity at all, I'm not going to watch it. If it's doing the art, I'm not watching it. If it's writing the stories, I'm not watching it. If it's designing the characters, I'm not going to watch it. If it's doing the voice acting, I'm not going to watch it. But I think it's inevitable. It's going to happen, and I will just sink back into watching anime from the 80s and 90s because there's hundreds of those I haven't seen. But what you're really going to get from AI is mass, global, just destruction of economies. People are going to starve. People are going to be out of work. It's going to be a fucking disaster. It's going to be, if nothing good will come from AI. Nothing. I don't know. Except people won't know how to do math because they're just going to ask some fucking computer to write their essays, and it's not good. I wouldn't
say nothing could possibly.
I mean, Caroline will
come
figure
from
out
AI.
how much she's paying a month for Crunchyroll with AI, so it's not all bad.
I'd like to hear.
We're not going to get into a whole discussion about this right now.
Oh,
but,
I'd love it though.
I mean,
I'd love to know what the good thing is.
Okay,
that AI is
do
gonna
you not
create.
think that AI could feasibly cure cancer somehow?
Nope, I doubt it.
With all of the research potential that AI has, you don't think that's going to happen?
I think cancer is being caused by the fact that our food is poisonous in the first place. So people could just quit eating fucking BHT or whatever in their breakfast cereals.
Oh, that's great. So you've already cured it. Thanks, Mitz. Let's move on then. Spring 2024 impressions. Last round. So every season we watch about 7 shows per person, and we get 2 passes each. We watch a few episodes of each show, and then we decide what we would like to pass for review. And at the end of all that, once it's all said and done, we will give it to the listeners and pass 3 more shows based on their opinions. So passed so far, we got Jellyfish Can't Swim in the Night, Bison Wolf, Kaiju number 8, and Girls Band Cry. So we have 2 more shows to pass today. Who would like to go first? Should I or should...
One of you two, because I don't have too much to say today.
I'll
Goodness.
start. I'll do Re-Monster. So Re-Monster is an anime that came out, obviously, this season. It's about... as you might expect, it's about a person who gets reincarnated. It's an isekai, but with a twist. So this person gets reincarnated, and they are reborn as a goblin, basically. And they do goblin things. Literally, they're good lord. Goblins are just like, they have definitely carved out their place in anime, and it's nothing good. So,
Mitz, are they going goblin mode though?
They are. They're going goblin.
Oh.
There's like girls
so
in their
in.
cave and chains and all this, and their clothing is laying around, and we all know what happens when goblins are in anime. They kidnap women and do what they want. That's basically what's happening. And but beyond that, the goblin character, whose name is Ro, good lord, is just trying to kill and eat lots of stuff, and so he can level up and evolve, essentially. And so it's like, oh, if I kill enough like wild boar and eat them, then eventually I will level up, and that's what happens. So basically, this anime, I don't know. This anime is just like bizarre and really it's just another take on isekai. I don't know, they've done everything at this point. I don't know how they're eventually just gonna fully run out of ideas, but this might be the first time somebody was reincarnated as a goblin. But it's like, oh, so Ro finds these three buddies, Mi and Kichi, and they are helping him fight and kill like random stuff, so they all end up evolving. And of course, Mi ends up turning into like a big-titted goblin chick, because that's how you do, I guess, in anime. And then all the other little goblins are all trying to get like advice on how they can evolve, and so they have like this little goblin, I don't know, like fan club, I guess, for the ones that evolve very quickly. And it's just a weird anime. I don't know. I don't know where it's going. I don't know what the point is. I don't like it very much. It's not very interesting. I mean, they really do just spend the whole like entire episodes just killing and eating things. I mean, it's just, but not with like amazing action or anything like that. It's just pretty much about as basic as you can expect. So, Remonster, I don't really think anybody's going to be missing it too much, and I don't think it'll end up getting too many votes on listener choice either. So let's just put this one to bed.
I was surrounded by the suck.
As Smoke a Few said, it really has no point. And that is correct. So yeah, not much. And it's Studio Dean. I mean, has Dean ever done anything that didn't suck?
Rakugo Shinju, and that's about it.
That's about it. They've done 100. They've done 175 anime on my anime list, and only 8 of them have cracked an 8.
Ooh.
That is not. And a bunch of those are Rakugo Shinju. So I don't know. They haven't really. It's Konosuba, Rakugo Shinju, and that's about it for them. So. And
they don't even do Konosuba anymore, which is also coming out this season with season 3. But
yeah, it didn't miss a beat apparently. So, yep, that's a fail. Next.
Hey, one of the shows that I had on my list was Hananoe-kun to Koi no Yamai, otherwise known as A Condition Called Love. This is done by Studio East Fish Studio, and it's based off of manga. So here's the bit of the synopsis. Hotaru Hinase is a first-year high school student who doesn't quite understand the idea of romance. While at a cafe, Hotaru witnesses a dramatic breakup involving a handsome honors student, Hananoe. Encountering him sitting alone in the snow on her way home, she extends her umbrella to him in a gesture of kindness. The very next day, Hananoe asks Hotaru to be his girlfriend. Despite rejecting him, Hananoe sticks closely by Hotaru's side and frequently does things for her in hopes that she will return his feelings. Hotaru comes to appreciate Hananoe and believing that she might be able to fall in love with him, so Hotaru agrees to date Hananoe. So I thought Hotaru's attitude towards love was actually going to be more similar to how it is in Bloom Into You, but it's really just that she's never been in a relationship before and can't imagine what it's like to love one specific person more than her friends and family. So overall, I like her. She's pretty cute, and watching her react to her first relationship with a lot of innocence is kind of sweet. But here's where the show diverges from being typical shoujo romance, one that I was mostly expecting, so I was not really thinking it was going to go in this direction. Hananoe is one of the creepiest love interests ever. On the surface, handsome, tall, does acts of service, so you would think, oh, that's, that's husband material.
Sign me up.
Yeah, but he takes it to an insane level, and because of this, he's just a walking red flag. Like, everything he does. At the first couple episodes, I was thinking, there's no way that this is going to be like a love bombing situation, but it certainly looks like that. And then after watching a few more episodes, I'm realizing, oh no, he is not just, the fictional love interest doing very romantic things that would be seen as romantic in a show, but creepy in real life. No, this is going on. This is definitely not supposed to be like this. He has something going on with him. Here's a list of the things he does in the first 5 episodes that if anyone is experiencing in real life, I would suggest running the other direction. In fact, I kind of want Hotaru to run in the other direction, but she just thinks these are just very nice things that he's doing. Okay, number 1. Immediately after breaking up with a girl, he obsesses over the first girl that gives him any attention. That would be Hotaru. The next day, professes his love for that girl, who he barely knows. Number 3, he cuts his hair and offers to take out his piercings after the girl even slightly alludes to her liking short hair in general. Like, he asks her, what hair do you prefer? And she thinks that he's talking about what she prefers for herself. She says, oh, I like short hair. It's easier to manage. And then immediately cuts his hair. Number 4, he waits 2 hours before the girl starts walking to school just so he's ready to walk with her and spend every moment possible with her. Number 5, he resents that this girl has friends and she wants to spend time with them. So
that's probably the biggest one
Oh, we are just on the cusp of the biggest
Of
one.
what you've said so far, that one, like in the real world, is probably the biggest red flag. But
Yeah.
little do I know. Proceed.
Number 6, he secretly wishes, quote unquote, like they were making a list of things that they want to do together. He wrote this down, but took it out of their little list, and threw it in a piece of trash, or threw it in the trash. He wrote, "I want to make you mine alone."
Well,
That was bad.
what's wrong with that?
Well, several things, Mitz, but we'll not get into that. I think that's fairly obvious. Number 7, on 3 separate occasions, he tells her to be on guard around him when they are alone in a room. Just because it's happens to be his or her bedroom that they are spending time in, he says, "You gotta be careful. You gotta be on guard around me."
Is he Edward Cullen?
Oh gosh, and here's another good one. Number 8, when she notices a bookshelf with a curtain in front of it in his room, he tells her it's a shrine devoted to her.
Some whatever the hell the guy in GTO's name is, it has all the wallpaper of Fuyutsuki all over his walls. Teshigawa.
Yes. Yeah, so I was kind of hoping that, I don't know, it would be his porn collection, but no, it's a shrine. I mean, that's what he says it is. It could be something else that and that's gonna be like a plot twist of some sort, but number 9.
I've never heard Caroline say, I was kind of hoping it was his porn collection.
If it was porn,
That's how you know
like,
it's
okay,
bad.
that's like, I think that's a fairly normal guy thing. Okay, number 9. All of his family photos have people cut out of them. So it's like just photos of his parents with nobody else in them because they're all cut out. Number 10. When they go out to the school roof, he lies and says the door is locked, causing them to miss class and sit in the cold just so he can spend time with her. Isn't that cute?
That's
Okay,
a pro
yeah.
gamer move. That's
Based.
high
But
IQ
all
play.
these things combined, and several more things I have not mentioned. Like, this guy's a creep.
He said to be on guard around him. She shouldn't have trusted him. She's failing. No, I know what you mean, though.
And yet she sticks around anyway.
Yeah, so you could say that she's like the perfect victim because she doesn't know. It's her first relationship and she's very innocent about all these things. So she's probably would have no idea that any of these things would be a red flag. But also, everyone else around her doesn't seem concerned by them. So, yeah. All right, so I think what they're gonna do is they're gonna give him some sort of tragic backstory and just excuse his creepy love bombing behavior because that's what it sounds like is love bombing. I am slightly interested to see what happens, but I don't think it's the right frame for a true romance to be using because honestly, I think that would give other people some really bad ideas about what romance is like. So yeah, it's not passing. It is a little interesting considering it's a romance involving a guy with obvious issues. So watch at your own discretion, but yeah, it's not passing.
How about no?
There you go.
Next up.
That's what the girl should say.
Yeah.
I mean, some of those weren't that bad, but if you're cutting pictures,
Yeah, some of them are not as bad as others. Like the whole cutting his hair thing. I think that's a little weird, but it's, not exactly a red flag.
That doesn't even
but
make sense, though. She likes her hair short because it's less maintenance. How does that have anything to do with his hair?
He thought, like, when he asked that question, he was asking what her opinions would be of a guy with, like, how a guy would like, in terms of attraction, if she would be attracted to somebody with long hair or short hair. She said, but that's not how the question was framed. He misunderstood.
Understand. Yeah.
Yeah.
Alrighty then, it's anime.
But the problem is that there's like a lot of wholesome moments in the show, but at the same time, there's a lot of creepy moments. So I'm really conflicted with this show because sometimes the wholesome moments will happen. I'm like, oh, that's sweet, and kind of make me forget just how creepy this guy is. So yeah.
Mason, are you up?
I am up, and I am talking about the show Windbreaker, a title that they no doubt picked because the name
Breaking
Cheese
Wind.
Cutter was taken. This is a show on Crunchyroll done by Cloverworks. It's based on a manga, and I will be failing it because I have no passes left Though I do think this might come back for listener's choice, and I think if it does, Mitsuki will be like, "Oh, why didn't you pass this show? It's a pretty good show compared to the other Moe schlock you passed." And here's why.
Well, at
So,
least you know.
Windbreaker isn't bad. It has decent visuals, particularly in the above average fight sequences. So if you're signing up for a show where delinquents in or go to a school and get into scraps, a la Tokyo Revengers, but better, you can stop listening now and go give this a shot because, yeah, it's a school, a high schooler full of delinquents who actually still go to school, but then they get into fights,
Yeah.
and it's fine. The problem is when the fists aren't flying, we are treated to very sappy, stilted character writing that exudes awkwardness and does blind cartwheels, unabashedly crashing through all the character tropes you've ever seen in anime. The gags, the introductions, the story beats you've seen 1,000 times will dilute the little bit of originality that this show started with to just this flavorless broth of a delinquent soup that I'm not really engaged with. The characters, the lessons are as blatant and as bland as possible. And while I'm sure a more developed and interesting antagonist will appear, so far they've been so generic that our generic main characters have nothing to bounce off of to make them grow or be anything more than just kind of a tsundere delinquent boy. So this is very popular
Tsundere
this
boy?
season. Yeah, he's like, so this guy comes in, he has half black, half white hair, and two different colored eyes, and he kind of gets teased for it, bullied it. Like where he comes from, he's kind of shunned and looked down upon. So he goes to this new town, and they're like, "Hey, you're awesome. You're good at fighting. We love you." He's like, "What? You're not scared of me? But I'm always cast out, and I can't believe you guys like me, Baka." And he runs away. Like he's
So he's a bumbling
fine
idiot.
character. He's not even a bumbling idiot. He just doesn't get that people can accept him and love him because he's been shunned for so long. And I get it. That's an engaging and powerful story of, someone who's not been given respect finally finding their place in the world and coming to terms with that. Like that's a good story, but it's just been told in a such ham-fisted way of just he'll meet someone new and he'll be kind of, doofy and goopy. He's like, "I bet that guy can't fight at all." And then the shopkeeper will be like, "Well, do you know about coffee? Coffee, what color fruit do you think coffee comes from?" He's like, "I don't know, brown." She's like, "No, coffee comes from a red fruit. So you can't judge things by their appearances. It's what's on the inside." And it's just like,
What?
it's a fine metaphor, but it's so handholdy that I just kind of grew outrageous. So once again, Windbreaker, the punches land. It's just frustratingly fine. And I think it'll, like, if we have to watch it, if listeners pick it, it'll get the job done. It's not an egregious watch, but I just was turned off on a lot of different little nitpicky things that made me upset. So that's why I failed it. But it looks good. So Cloverworks know what they're doing. But yeah, the title definitely just sounds like a fart joke. So we're failing it.
That is one big pile of shit.
I can just hear Beavis laughing about it. So, yeah, pretty much. Okay, next up is Sandland, which is an anime that is 99.9983% sure is a Toriyama anime. And it is about a far future where the world has like no water. I mean, basically in this anime, they literally have no water, and they live in a desert. And there's like a kingdom with a king, and it doesn't have any water really. And so he sells water to his people because apparently he has water. I don't know where he gets it from, but he's got it from somewhere. And they start off by saying, "Oh, I'm having a sale. My water is now only 17,500 zeni instead of 20,000 zeni," and everyone's excited. Meanwhile, there's a bunch of demons that live nearby, and they're not really friends with the humans. They don't really necessarily conflict, with each other, but they're not friends. And the demons don't have water either. And so what happens is this really cool, like, human dude named Sheriff Rao, who is an old man, but he's kind of a badass old man. He goes to the demon village and he talks to Beelzebub, who is essentially the son of Lucifer and the prince of the underworld. He's a lot like Laharl from Disgaea. I mean, he's about that size, and he has the same general personality as Laharl, where he's kind of like, he has a tough attitude, but he's also like a little kid, so he gets excited about dumb stuff like video games and whatever. And that's actually how they managed to bribe Beelzebub into agreeing to help Sheriff Rao find the water, because Sheriff Rao believes that there is water in like the south, because there's some birds that have been migrating from like the south, and the birds come from where there's water. I can't remember why. They lay their eggs in the water or something. I can't remember. And so essentially the group of Sheriff Rao and 2 demons go off in his like sort of like safari type car to try to find water. And that's the general gist of the beginning of the anime. This anime is a lot of fun. It's CG, but it doesn't look horrific like some CG does. And it moves pretty well. I mean, it's CG. It moves better than most anime, I'd say. The character designs remind me very much of Dragon Quest. They are a little more Dragon Questy than they are Dragon Ball, I would say, which is fine. And the action is pretty fun. There's, some monsters chasing him in the desert. There's some quick fight scenes with some bandits, stuff like that. Overall, it's a pretty well put together show, I think. And probably a standout from a season that is really not too good, really. And this is done by Studio Sunrise. And this is not the first Sandland content we've had. So there is a Sandland movie, which came out last year. I didn't watch it, but it does have, the same general look to it. So it may be the exact same story. It looks like
I think the first half of the TV series covers what the film did. And then the second half will be a new arc.
That makes sense. Yeah, the movie's an hour and 45 minutes, and this anime is supposedly 1 core, although it probably have more. But, yeah, so I am going to pass this. I think it's quite strong. I mean, it's just fun. Like, the characters are just fun. They look good. The designs are amazing. Like fucking Toriyama. If the man can do one thing, it's design some characters. I mean, there's probably a reason why he's been designing characters for video games as long as he's been making manga, because his designs are just universally likable. It's pretty easy to watch, and pretty much enjoyed it all around. So the music is done by someone named Yugo Kanno. I wonder if that person is related to Yoko Kanno.
I don't think so.
That would be interesting. They are a little too old, probably. I'm not sure how old Yoko Kanno is, maybe in her 60s. So this guy is like 45, so that would be pretty tough. She would have to be in her 70s probably. But yeah, so I'm going to pass Sandland. I think it's pretty good. It's not really too hard of a decision.
Yes! Now this is going to be a good story.
And that one might have come back anyway, even if I had failed it. So there you go. Sandland. Good stuff. Toriyama. Rest in peace. Love you. Hugs and kisses.
Yeah, I think Yugo Kanno did a bunch of the music for JoJo. But yeah, we'll see how this Toriyama work plays off. I'm excited for it.
All right. I think we're back to Caroline.
I will talk about Go Go Loser Ranger next. This is done by Yoestar Pictures, based off a manga. So here's the synopsis. 13 years ago, the nefarious monster army invaded Earth, but humanity's great protectors, the Dragon Keepers, defeated them in a single year. However, the public doesn't know this. Every Sunday since, the monsters have been forced to act out humiliating defeats so that the Dragon Keepers can keep being the superheroes that Japan needs. Determined to change this, a single monster named D infiltrated the Ranger Force. So all the monsters, they're basically like just people that wear these black suits with their faces covered, and they are each known by like A, B, C, D, E, etc. But they're not like just people. They have this ability to regenerate their wounds and all that, and they can also shapeshift to a certain extent. So our main character D, he is not just fighting back to free his fellow monsters from the torment of being forced to act like complete imbeciles every week, and also they could go they can't go home because they are being threatened with their lives with these like specific weapons that do have the ability to kill them, even though otherwise they are immortal. So he's not just fighting back to free them from that. He legit despises the Keepers. He wants to kill them, and he also wants to fulfill their original goal of world domination. He's also not above violently bludgeoning somebody to death to do what, like, when he needs to, just to get to this goal. So he's like not a completely morally good protagonist, which is pretty interesting. If I were to compare this show to something, it's kind of like The Boys in Power Rangers paint. If you know what The Boys, I think it was on like Amazon Prime, right? About like superheroes, but the dark side of superheroes. Yeah, so I would say that, especially considering how violent it can be. Like, it's not like a bloodbath every episode, but you certainly would not... I was not expecting him to bludgeon somebody with, I think it was like a bat or a golf club or something like that.
Was it a 3-iron?
I really can't remember what he bludgeoned him with, but... also, like, the Red Ranger type, the Red Keeper, he also violently murders somebody, so that was interesting. I also think that it looks visually pretty good. They go back and forth between 2D and 3D styles, but not to the point that I dislike it. I think it just looks really interesting. The other monsters are pretty entertaining because they're constantly trying to think of new ways to entertain the public with new boss monsters against their will. But the thing is, after 13 years of doing this, they're starting to jump the shark, and they're also like having trouble forming these boss monsters. So like in the first episode, they were like, what should our boss monster be? Should it be like a tiger? Or like, oh no, like we did a tiger last time or something like that. And so I think they settled on like, it's like a lion type, but they can't form it very well. So it's like a conglomeration of all the lions in the world. And yeah. So I will say that even though I thought the first 3 episodes, they were really good and just like kind of refreshing in a way, I am a little bit concerned with the most recent episode. It kind of feels a bit convoluted and unfocused. I was honestly a little bit confused by some of the motivations for the things that happen in that episode. I hope it will get on track because I think it has a lot of potential. And also because I'll be passing it.
Yahoo!
Yahoo!
All right. Wow. That one came out of nowhere. I thought that
I
one
wouldn't say it came out of nowhere. I had it on the notes.
I thought it was going down.
The listeners didn't know.
Listen,
Yeah,
it's not love after world domination, but I have already cemented myself as the one that will give Sentai shows a chance. So,
Mason, are you all out of shows?
I'm all out of shows. I'm fresh
All right.
out.
All right. Oh, I'm going to do Oi Tonbo. Oi Tonbo. So, Oi Tonbo is this anime. This guy, this ex-professional golfer is trying to find life after golf, I guess. And so he goes to this island called Hinoshima Island that's super fucking remote. Like, they have almost no one living on it. It maybe has 30 people. And he finds a job on this island. I don't know why or what the fuck, but it's pretty ridiculous. So, but to his amazement, even though he expects there to be literally nothing on this island because it's pretty undeveloped, he finds that there are 3 very nicely made holes of golf right near the ocean. It's like very surprisingly nice. I don't know.
Crazy how nature just does that.
I don't know who cuts the grass on these golf holes because like you can't just like put a golf course in. Like you have to have special equipment to cut the grass. You got to be able to cut the grass to like a millimeter length. I mean, it's not exactly easy. Golf course attendants and like landscapers, they make a lot of money. So I don't know how this golf course isn't just like a shaggy pile of weeds, but anyway, it's not important. It's anime, so blah, blah, blah. So the funny thing is that this girl named Tonbo, who's on the island and insists that she will never leave the island, even though the island has no high school. So they pretty much always send the kids out off the island when they graduate from middle school because, well, you don't have much choice because otherwise you won't be able to fucking read. So she's
They
like,
read in high school or middle school though.
they
right?
can't read in middle school. Nope. Not anything complicated. So they're probably missing half the kanji at that point. So yeah, so she's like, I don't fucking care. I'm just gonna be illiterate. They don't actually go into that. It's just I happen to know that would be the case. Like, she's like, you know what? Fuck it. I don't need to be educated. I'm just gonna live on this island forever and play golf. So she, the man whose name is Igarashi, is very surprised to find that Tonbo is quite good at golf, who only has a 3-iron, and she can do shit with a golf club that even he can't do, even though he's a pro. And such as there's a golf hole. They get very fixated on this one sand trap that has a very high wall to exit it. So some sand traps in golf are very deep, and they have more or less a straight up and down wall on the sides that would make it very hard to hit the ball out of the sand pit if you were right up against the wall. It would be like trying to hit a golf
I could
ball.
do it.
Could you?
Joking.
I think we should do a
It's like one of those things that sounds so easy to somebody who's never done it.
This is the plot of Sandland. It's all about being in sand traps in golf.
How do I describe this? It'd be like if you were 50 feet away from a 10-foot brick wall, and you could hit the ball over the wall easily because you're 50 feet from it. If you're 3 feet from it, the ball has to go straight up to go over to get out of the bunker. So she has some weird way of doing it where she like, I don't know, she like turns the golf club head like all the way up. I don't fucking know. He can't do it. He even goes out and tries to do it like secretly and can't. And then she shows up and asks if he wants her to show him how to do it. But it is kind of a cute anime. I mean, they are definitely friends right away. It's a better representation of golf than what the fuck was that show called that I already can't
Birdie Wing?
Venus Fly, Penis Fly. What the hell was that fucking anime called?
Venus Line.
Birdie Wing?
But we prefer Penis Line.
Penis Line, yeah, exactly. But this anime is a better representation of golf than Birdie Wing, even though she only has one golf club. But it is a little slow-ish. I mean, not much happens in the beginning. But this anime is, honestly, if I had 3 passes, I would have passed this one. So because I actually don't hate it. It's a very fun sort of watch as far as golf goes. Tonbo is fairly likable. I kind of want to see where it's going. I may end up continuing to watch this. I don't think it'll get listener choice picked. Almost no one's watching this. So this season is just too full of sequels. I don't know. There's just sequels everywhere. So there's like, I just put together part of the listener choice poll, and there's like 20 sequels this season. I mean, it's ridiculous. So this one won't get picked. I hope it does. I really think this is cute and I enjoy it. But I simply have already used both my passes. This is definitely not better than Sandland. I mean, there's no doubt about that. I mean, it doesn't even have the potential to be better than Sandland. And it's certainly not better than Spice and Wolf, which is, I don't know, definitely the best anime that I have. So I'm going to reluctantly fail Oi Tombo. I think it's quite fun and pretty okay, but we just don't have room for it.
Listeners,
I
pass
was
this.
surrounded by the suck.
You interrupted
Listeners,
your
pass
listening.
this show if you want us to say "Oi Tombo" in a funny voice.
Oi Tombo!
I'm very surprised that you like this one, Mitz.
Well, it's sports, so
I know, but like you describe it as cute, and you're not really into cute things.
it's not moe cute. She's just like a 13-year-old girl who is a free spirit.
Are they going to make it off the island, or is it going to be a...
Well,
it's just going to be an island thing?
She's not going to have much of a golf career if they don't, but she doesn't
I wasn't sure if this was more of like a leisurely type, or if it's actually going to, yeah.
Well, the sensible thing would be for her to go off the island, get some friggin' high school education, and maybe play golf other than places other than the freaking, like tiny island that's probably like the middle of fucking nowhere. But considering she's so resistant to the idea, I don't know if she'll ever actually leave. I have no idea. This does have a manga, so I guess you could read the manga, but I don't know. We'll find out maybe if I watch it or if it gets picked. I don't know if it's her desire to never leave the island versus I don't know whether or not she loves golf enough to leave, I guess, but it's going to be a pretty boring fucking anime if they don't leave the island. There's not much there. There's literally like 3 people on this friggin' island.
Oh, wow.
Well, she's the only person in her class at school.
That's
she's
crazy.
like she's in whatever the class is before. She's in the last class before high school, and it's literally just a teacher, and she's the only one in the room.
Valedictorian, baby.
What are people even doing on this island? Like, how do they make a living?
I think they're mostly fishing, but I don't know. I mean, there's probably like 30 people legitimately, and I don't even know why they have a school on this island. I don't fucking know. She's really the only person. So, all right, that one's gonna fail. Although it is not horrible. It doesn't have a great score online, but people hate sports anime, so unless it's free or Haikyuu, everyone hates it. So pretty much, kind of what I expected.
All right, well,
One more show.
The last review, but I've already used up my 2 passes, so you kind of already know what's going to happen here. But
No,
I
don't.
still want to talk about A Salad Bowl of Eccentrics. It's done by Studio Synergy SP and Studio Comet. It's based off a light novel. So right off the bat, I was really apprehensive to put something called A Salad Bowl of Eccentrics on my list. So it actually landed pretty low on it. I think it was my number 6 pick.
It's a silly name.
But yeah, here's the synopsis. Sosuke Kuburaya is an impoverished detective. He meets Sarah, who is a princess from another world with magical powers. They start living together, and Sarah adjusts her life to modern Japan. That is a very brief synopsis from my anime list. But yeah, so in this other world that Sarah and her companion are escaping, there's like some sort of revolution happening. Like her family gets killed, so Sarah and her friend, or her protector, more like she's like a knight for her, they end up going into this other world, otherwise known as Japan. But they go separately. So Sarah enters Japan first and just randomly meets Sosuke, and he reluctantly takes her in after she threatens if he does not take care of her, she has the ability to erase his memory, which honestly is not that big of a deal, except when you take into account that it's not a perfect spell and could very easily make him end up being comatose or just completely
is that all?
Unable to function as a human because it's not a perfect spell. So with that threat looming over him, he decides to, take her in. And also she's a little bit of a chuni otaku type. I honestly think she's really fun because she's like really funny and she wants to be like Detective Conan because she loves that manga. So she invites herself to go along on Sosuke's investigations, like of people who are, cheating against cheating in their relationships and things like that. Meanwhile, Sarah's protector that I mentioned before, she enters the world a little bit after Sarah does. And she has no idea where she is, and she's also homeless. And she's still wearing like her other world clothes, so she ends up being loaned a tracksuit, but she has very big boobs, so that's often a visual comedic moment of her boobs just jiggling all the time. And she's very pretty, but she's also loving the homeless lifestyle. I mean, okay, loving is not, the strongest word for it, but it's the best word for it, but she's making the most out of it. She's a very positive person. So overall, and also, she accidentally becomes the reluctant leader of a cult.
Is this Livia
Livia. That's the protector's name.
You ever know? Never mind.
I don't know what you were gonna say, but I'm glad you didn't.
Well, I was gonna say there's almost no homeless woman anywhere ever.
Yeah, and that's why she also gets a lot of attention as she's very beautiful. They consider her a foreigner. The only certain people in this world know that they're from another world. She makes friends with this other homeless guy, and he kind of teaches her the ropes. And I think their relationship is really nice. He's a very pleasant guy. She's also she has people coming up to her, like there were people from a what are they called, like to be an escort like at a rest in a bar, like you dress up and you just sit with guys and talk to them and stuff like that. So that they came up to her to do that, and she what?
A cabaret club, Opabu.
Yeah, kind of, yeah. So she ends up doing that for a little bit, but then it ends up getting taken down for illegal things. So she stops doing that, and then she's approached by these members of this group who are led by who they think is a magical being who heals people. It's like a religion of an occult. She ends up performing some sort of magic, healing magic, and they're like, "Oh my God, you're the savior that we've been waiting for." And she's like, really not. I'm actually gonna leave. Bye." And so I'm pretty sure that's gonna be a running joke that she's like the reluctant leader of a cult. It's honestly, this entire show is like really fun and it's wacky. It's a lot like Hinamatsuri in premise and comedy. So if you're a fan of Hinamatsuri, I highly recommend this one. Coincidentally, this light novel is actually by the same writer of Little Sisters All You Need. Remember that show I talked about last week?
Wow.
Coincidentally, the same writer. Not nearly as inappropriate as that one. I think it's fairly like wholesome, cute, fun. It's not like breaking the wheel in terms of comedy and cute shows, but I think people will enjoy this one. And usually I go for shows with more substance for passes, so I'm just hoping that this one gets a listener choice. But yeah, I recommend this one. So that's all for that. That's all for my impressions. I think
you
we're
recommended
done here.
it, but you didn't pass it.
Right, like, it really was a toss-up between this one and Go-Go Loser Ranger, and while I was not a fan of that most recent episode of Loser Ranger, but I think that one would be a little bit more of an interesting review than this one. But still, I think it would be nice if I had, like as you said, if I had 3 passes, this would have gone in.
All right.
A hostess club. That's what it was. Thank you, Captain Avatar.
There you go. Hostess club. Cabaret club, Opabu, they're all the same.
Yeah. I was like, Cabaret club doesn't sound right, but yeah.
She pulling her.
We did it.
She pulling her breasts out.
No.
You said they were
I don't think
big,
any
so
nudity. She's just jiggly.
Not an Opub then.
No.
Not
I mean,
an
I think
Opub.
there were some under the table things happening.
Oh.
In that,
like literally under the table, or just like
they
the money?
allude to it being a little bit inappropriate, but yeah, they don't spend that much time there because it very quickly gets shut down.
We did it. Our past shows for spring are Jellyfish Can't Swim in the Night, Spice and Wolf Merchant Meets the Wise Wolf, Kaiju Number 8, Girls Band Cry, Sandland, and Go-Go Loser Ranger. So,
Go-Go Loser Ranger.
if your favorite show that isn't past the season 2 or something weird like that isn't on that list and you want us to review it, head on over to AAApodcast.com or follow us on Twitter or Facebook or on the Discord. There will be a link posted with big flashy letters that says vote here in the spring listener choice. You pick the shows you want. They go in the thing, the big old bucket of votes. We calculate the votes and then we see who wins. And those shows we will also add to the review list. So that also is the end of the episode. We did it, everyone.
Come on.
Oh,
Let's do another
you thought
hour.
you were going to get more. Well, guess what, Mitz? You would get more podcast content to keep you occupied if you subscribed at aapodcast.com.
If
you
only.
can listen to some after parties where we hang out and probably 95% of the time talk about food. We'll see if we can.
I want to talk about the hobby, not the hobby addicts, the listener choice.
Ooh, well, we should do that.
Mitz, just so you know, totally mistaken. She did get naked a couple times.
So it's definitely an Opabu. That's the short time.
No. She bathes. It's because she bathes in the river because she's homeless.
You know what?
You would really like Livia.
We're gonna pass. We're gonna go back and we're passing it, baby.
We're retconning it.
I'm failing. I'm failing Sandland. And we're taking it, baby.
Oh my
Oh,
Yeah.
I need a pass drop. Wait,
are you serious?
there we go. Oh,
we're just passing
Yeah,
the 5
baby.
seconds that she's naked, and that's it. Just the scene.
No, I'm just kidding.
Thank you so much for
Aw.
listening. We're
The
not
one
actually
time
doing
you're
that.
messing with me, I was thinking you were serious.
We will see you in the future. Maybe not next week. We'll let
Mother's
you know.
Day.
We'll figure it out. Have a good one. Get a gift for your mom if you haven't yet, because it's Mother's Day coming up. And we will see you in the future, wherever that might be. Thank you so much for listening.
Toodles.
Tell a friend.
Peace out.
Bye.
Bye-bye.